Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel Alchemist. Today we are going to see the topic that is D block elements. Okay, let's get into the video. First, we are going to see the location of D block elements. Okay, and as we know, this is the periodic table, and there are four blocks present in it. That is S block, P block, D block, and F block. Okay, and we covered S block and P block in the earlier videos, and now we are going to cover the D block elements. Okay, in D block elements there are four series. Okay, that is these are the four series, and each series consists of 10 elements. Okay. Now let's see the detailed D block elements, that is detailed account of D block elements. Now we are going to see the series of D block elements. Okay, as we all know there are four series in D block elements. They are 3D series, 4D series, 5D series and 6D series. Okay, and in each of the series there are 10 elements present except 5D and 6D. In 5D and 6D the first element that is belong to F block elements, that is lanthanum and actinium. Okay, and now let us see the elements present in these series. Okay, now we are going to see the elements. Okay, in 3D series the elements are scandium, titanium, vanadium, chromium, manganese, iron, cobalt, nickel, copper and zinc. Okay. In 4D series it is yttrium, zirconium, niobium, molybdenum, technetium, ruthenium, rhodium, palladium, silver and cadmium. Okay. In 5D series, as we know, this belongs to F block. In this place, lanthanum, hafnium, tantalum, tungsten, rhenium, osmium, iridium, platinum, gold and mercury. Okay. And in 6D also, this element belongs to F block, that is actinium. Okay. And then rutherfordium, dubdrium, seaborgium, borium, hassium, meitanium, damstadium, rhongonium, coppernickel. Okay, and these are the elements of D block. And the next one is why D block elements are called as transition elements. Okay, let us see. Y means it is located in between the S block and P block. Okay, as we all know, in the periodic table, the D block is located in between. Okay, and another one, that is F block elements, is also known as inner transition elements. Okay, and as we all know, the transition elements occupy the group 14 to 12 and a scandium and yttrium of group 3 having a partially filled d orbitals. So it is also considered as transition elements. Okay. And what are the properties of transition elements? The first property we are going to see is the electrons. Okay. Electrons are filled in the d orbital that lie between n plus 1 s and n plus 1 p suborbital. Okay. And the next one, we all know that they have the properties of s block and p block. Okay. And then it is placed in between the s and p block elements. Now we are going to see the trends of D block elements. Okay, and these are the trends. Okay, on moving from left to right in our periodic table or from D block elements, that is from scandium to zinc, the electronegativity increases. Okay, whereas the enthalpy of hydration of cation decreases on moving from left to right. Okay, On moving from top to bottom, the enthalpy of the hydration of cation decreases from scandium to lanthanum, and from scandium to lanthanum, the electronegativity increases. Okay, these are the trends of d block elements. Now we are going to see the electronic configuration of d block elements. Okay, as we all know, the general electronic configuration of d block elements is n minus 1 d1 to 10 and ns 1 to 2. And then we have to see the general electronic configuration of each series, that is 3D series. For period 4 or 3D series, the electronic configuration is argan 4s1 to 2, 3D 1 to 10. Okay, and the electronic configuration of period 5 of 4D series is krypton 5s1 to 2 and 4D 1 to 10. And then for period 6 of 5D series is xenon 6s1 to 2, 5D 1 to 10. And then for period 7 or 6D series is radon 7s1 to 2, 6D 1 to 10. Okay, these are the general electronic configurations. Now we are going to see the electronic configuration of 3D series. Okay, in 3D series, these are the elements as we know that scandium to zinc. Okay, that is scandium, titanium, vanadium, chromium, manganese, iron, cobalt, nickel, copper, and zinc. These are the electronic configuration. Okay, and these are the electronic configuration filled by shell wise. Okay, and in D there is one electron, so one is present, and yes, two electrons, so two is present in 4s subshell. Okay, that is titanium, the electronic configuration is 3d to 4s2, and in D shell there is 2 electrons present, and 4s, that is 2 electrons present. Okay, and B, that is vanadium. Here in this also there are 3 electrons in the d orbital and 2 electrons in 4s orbital. And chromium, this is important. Okay, as we all know that the Hofeld electronic configuration is more stable, and so in 4s there is 2 electrons, so one shift to d subshell. Okay, that is 3d subshell, it becomes Hofeld and it is completely stable. Okay, so it is 3d5 4s1. And then manganese, in this also d consists of 5 electrons, so it is also completely stable one, and 4s2 has 2 electrons. So, and then iron has a d subshell 6 electrons and 4s 2 electrons. And cobalt, it has 7d electrons and 4s 2 electrons. Okay, and then nickel okay, 8 electrons and in 4s 2 electrons. And then copper, it is also when it consists of 9 electrons in d shell, and in 4s 1 electron jumps to d shell to become an octet or completely stable configuration. Okay, and in zinc it is completely stable as we know, 3d10 4s2. Now we are going to see the electronic configuration of 4D and 5D series. Okay. Now let's see 4D series. 4D series starts from yttrium to cadmium, as we know that. Okay. Now let's see the electronic configuration of each element. Okay. And for yttrium, it is krypton 4D1 5s2. Okay. And then for zirconium, it is krypton 4D2 5s2. And then niobium, it is krypton 4d4 5s1. And molybdenum, it is krypton 4d5 5s1. And technetium, it is krypton 4d6 5s1. And then ruthenium, it is krypton 4d7 5s1. And rhenium, it is krypton 4d8 5s1. And palladium, it is krypton 4d10 5s0. And for silver, it is krypton 4d10 5s1, and for cadmium it is krypton 4d10 5s1. Okay, these completely filled orbitals, that is palladium 4d10 it's stable, and silver is d10 stable, and cadmium stable. Okay, and half filled, that is molybdenum it's stable. Okay, it's half-filled and completely filled d orbitals are stable. Okay, and let's see the 5D series or third transition series. It starts from lanthanum to mercury. Okay, and for lanthanum it is xenon 5d1 6s2, and for hafnium it is xenon 4f14 5d2 6s2, and then for tantalum, it is xenon 4 of 14 5d3 6s2, and for tungsten, it is xenon 4 of 14 5d4 6s2, and for rhenium, it is a xenon 4 of 14 5d5 and 6s2. Okay, and for osmium, it is xenon 4 of 14 5d6 and 6s2, and for iridium, it is a xenon 4 of 14 5d7 6s2. And for platinum, it is xenon 4 of 14 5d9 6s1. And for gold, it is xenon 4 of 14 5d10 6s1. And for mercury, it is xenon 4 of 14 5d10 6s2. These are the electronic configurations of 4D and 5D series. Now let us see the electronic configuration of 6D series. Okay. First, we are going to see the elements present in it. Okay, and the first element is actinium, and the last element is copernicum. Okay, it is found, but it is not noted here. And then the second element is rutherfordium, and the third is hahnium, and the fourth is seaborgium, and the fifth is borium, and the sixth is hassium, and the seventh one is meitanium, and the eighth one is drumstadenium, and the ninth one is rhongenium, and the 10th one is copernicum. Okay, now let's see the electronic configuration. The electronic configuration of actinium is a radon 6d1 7s2. Okay, and for rutherfordium it is radon 5f1 6s2 7s2, and then for hafnium it is radon 5f14 63 7s2. Okay, and the D series increases. For seaborgium it is radon 5 514 64 7s2, and for borium it is radon 514 6s5 7s2, and for hassium it is radon 514 66 7s2, and for meitanium it is radon 514 6x 6d7 and 7s2, and for stadium, that is 110, it is radon 514 68 7s2, and for rhongenium it is 1111, and the electronic configuration is radon 514 6d9 7s2. And then the copernicum, okay, the 112nd element, it is radon 514 6d10 7s2. Okay, s2 it's not marked, put s2 here. Okay, and that's all about the electronic configuration of 60 series. Now let's see the characteristics of transition elements. Okay, and these are the characteristics, that is except for mercury, which is liquid at room temperature, all other elements are solid metals exhibiting all the characteristics of metals. Okay, and the second one is they show variable oxidation states, unlike SNP block elements. In a SNP block there is certain oxidation state. Okay, but in this D block elements there is variable oxidation state. Okay, and some compounds show catalytic properties. Okay, and then their compounds are colored. Okay, and then they have great tendency to form complexes, and they form alloys, and they form interstitial compounds. These are the characteristics of transition elements. Let's see them in detail. Okay, Now we are going to see the oxidation state. Okay, and now we are going to see the oxidation for 3D series, that is scandium to zinc. Okay, as we all know, the electronic configuration of these elements is already we saw them in the previous slide. Okay, and the electronic configuration of scandium, we all know that that is argon 4s2 3d1, and this is the 4s orbital concept 2 electrons. So put the 2 electrons in 4s, and in 3d there is 1 electron. So 4s2 electron, 3d 1 electron. Okay, this is the electronic configuration. The oxidation state, when it loses 3 electrons, it attains an orbital gas configuration, that is argon configuration. It is more stable. So the common oxidation state is +3. For titanium, it is, we know the configuration argon 4s2 3d2, and in 4s there is 2 electrons, so put 2 electrons in 4s, and in 3d there is 2 electrons, so 2 electrons. If it loses these 4 electrons, it becomes stable. So the oxidation state is +4. Okay, for vanadium it is a variable valency. It express variable valency. So +2, +3, +4, and +5. And for chromium, we know that the electronic configuration is 4s1 3d5. Actually, it is 4s2 3d4. As we know that the Hofeld configuration is more stable, so it 4s gives 1 electrons to 3d, so it becomes 4s1 3d5. It is completely stable. Okay, so and the oxidation state is +2, +3, and +6. And for manganese, it already exists in Hofeld state, so it is stable, and the oxidation state is +2, +3, +4, +6, and +7. Okay, and for iron, it is argon 4s2 3d6, and the oxidation state is +2, +3. And for cobalt, it is argon 4s2 3d7, and the common oxidation state is +2 and +3. Okay, and nickel. Okay, the electronic configuration is argon 4s2 3d8. The common oxidation state is +2. And for copper, the electronic configuration is argon 4s1 3d10, as we already saw for chromium. Okay, it is also a 4s2 3d9 is the actual configuration. Okay, and 4s gives 1 electrons to 3d. Okay, so it becomes half completely filled d orbital, so it is more stable. Okay, so the configuration is 4s1 3d10 argon. And for zinc, it is argon 4s2 3d10. Okay, it is also a completely filled, and the oxidation state is +2. And for copper it is +1 and +2. Okay, these are the oxidation states. Okay, for 3D series. Okay, the next characteristics of d block elements is formation of colored compounds. Okay, and the reason for this colored compounds is due to they have unfilled or half-filled d orbitals. This is the main reason. Okay, let's see the color of different examples, okay, of transition elements. Okay, first scandium 3 plus, the configuration is 3d0 and it is colorless. And titanium 4 plus, the configuration is 3d0 and it is colorless. And titanium 3 plus, it is 3d1, the outermost configuration, and it is purple in color. And vanadium 4 plus 3d1, it is blue in color. And vanadium 3 plus 3d2 and green in color. And vanadium 2 plus, it is 3d3, it is violet in color. And chromium 3 plus, it is 3d3 and violet in color. And manganese 3 plus, it is 3d4 violet in color. And chromium 2 plus, it is 3d4 blue in color. And for manganese 2 plus, it is 3d5 pink in color. Iron 3 plus, it is 3d5 yellow in color. And iron 2 plus, it is 3d6 green in color. For cobalt 3 plus, it is 3d6, and cobalt 2 plus, it is 3d7 bluish pink. Okay, blue pink. And then for nickel 2 plus, it is a 3d8 green in color. And for copper 2 plus, it is 3d9 blue in color. And for zinc 2 plus, it is 3d10 colorless. Okay, And now we are going to see the color and transition of color compounds. Okay, as we know that iron 2 Fe2 plus compounds are usually green, for example ferric chloride. Okay, and iron compounds Fe3 plus are usually orange or brown, for example Fe2O3, which hydrated. This is rusting. Okay, formation of rust. And then copper 2 compounds Cu2 plus or blue, copper 2 sulfate, copper sulfate hydrate hydration. This can be turned white while heating or the crystals to remove water, as we do in the lab. Okay, when we heat it becomes colorless. And the next property we are going to see is the magnetic property. Okay, and as we know there are two types, that is diamagnetic and paramagnetic. Diamagnetic consists of paired electrons and paramagnetic consists of unpaired electrons. Now let's see this picture. This picture symbolizes that magnetic properties are two types, that is paramagnetic and diamagnetic. And then paramagnetic consists of half-filled d orbitals or incompletely filled d orbitals, and diamagnetic consists of completely filled d orbitals. Okay. Now let's see this example. Chromium, all are half-filled. Okay. And if we remove three electrons, it also half-filled. And cobalt, if we remove two electrons, okay. If we remove two electrons from this, it also half-filled. Okay. Okay, two or three electrons. Cobalt 3 plus means we have to remove three electrons. And diamagnetic, it is completely filled d orbitals. Okay, let's see this example. Zinc, uh, they have 3d10 4s2 electronic configuration. It is completely filled. And copper plus, if we remove one electron from copper, it become completely filled d orbital. If we remove zinc 2 plus, that is remove 2 electrons from 4s, it also become completely filled d orbitals. These are the magnetic properties of d block elements. Okay, and then the next characteristics is complex formation. Okay, complex formation means complex compounds, as we know that the metal ions bind a number of anions and neutral molecules, giving a complex species with characteristic property. Okay, we know that d block elements or transition metals form a large number of complex compounds. For example, these are few examples. FeCN6 the whole power of 3 minus, FeCN6 the whole power of 4 minus, and Cu NH3 whole power 4 2 plus, and platinum PtCl4 2 minus. Okay, these are the few examples of complex compounds. And then as we know that the next category is catalytic activity. Okay, d block elements possesses catalytic activity. Now let's see in detail. As we know that vanadium is a d block element. Vanadium oxide, that is vanadium pentoxide, is used in contact processes. Okay, and finely divided iron Fe is used in Haber's process, and nickel is used in catalytic hydrogenation, and cobalt is used in synthesis of gasoline. Okay, and this is due to, as we know that unpaired electrons are half-filled d orbitals. Okay, that is incomplete d orbitals, and various as we know variable oxidation state. And then it provides large surface area with free valencies. These are the reasons due to catalytic for catalytic properties. Okay, and then the next one is alloy formation. As we know that d block elements are capable of alloy formation, and this is because of the smaller radii and other characteristics of transition metals. The alloys so formed are hard and have often high melting point. Okay, for example iron ferrous alloys like chromium, vanadium, tungsten, molybdenum and manganese are used for the production of various steels and stainless steel, we know that. And alloys of transition metals with non-transition metals such as Brass, it consists of copper and zinc, and bronze, it consists of copper and tin. Okay, brass consists of copper and zinc, and bronze consists of copper and tin. Okay, these are the alloy formation. And then the next one is, see this picture, um, formation of alloys. Okay, uh, atom of metal and atom of metal M combine to form alloys. And then the next one is formation of interstitial compounds. Okay, and as we know that, transition elements form a large number of interstitial compounds. Okay, such as hydrogen, carbon, boron, and nitrogen occupy the empty spaces in their lattices. Okay, they are usually non-stoichiometric and are neither typical, ionic, or covalent. For example, TIC, okay, titanium carbide, and Mn4n Fe3H, and VH 0.56, okay, and TiH 1.7, etc. These are the examples. Now see this picture. This is the formation of alloy as we already see, and these are the formation of interstitial compounds. Okay, they occupy the empty spaces in the lattices. Okay, in the interstitial voids, the nitrogen, hydrogen, carbon, boron, nitrogen occupy these interstitial voids and form interstitial compounds with d block elements, particularly transition elements. Okay, these are the formation of interstitial compounds. And finally, thank you. If you have any doubts, put it in the comment box. We will surely help you out.